So obviously that's giving you some kind of an insight in a coaching context of developing those communication skills when you're working with young performers. Now I'd like to consider the following kind of key points. Developing credibility when you communicate formulates trust with athletes, so being knowledgeable, reliable, fair and consistent, and following through what you do. Expressing warmth and friendliness, being dynamic and spontaneous, remaining calm under pressure and using a positive approach. Communicating with a positive approach emphasises praise, reward to strengthen desired behaviours. The positive approach helps athletes value themselves as individuals and in turn gives you credibility. Sending messages high in information. Successful coaches are not judges, they are skilled teachers. We provide athletes with specific information that helps them correct mistakes rather than just information that judges their performance. So we're going to be using feedback and questioning as part of this coaching process. Communicating with consistency, with verbal, non-verbal and emotions. So practice what you preach, keep to your word, don't promise to do things or follow through what you're going to say you're going to do. Make sure you're credible in the way that you work. So develop a sense of trust and being consistent and positive. Learn how to listen. To listen well is a powerful means of communication and influences the way we talk as well. So you need to show interest in people when they're talking to you and understand. Check that you understand by paraphrases and express empathy and respect when people are speaking. So 70% of communication is basically non-verbal. So it's really important to consider these non-verbal elements of communication and how they may impact on your message you're trying to get across. So, reading body position, body motion, voice characteristics, and so forth. It's that comment. It's not as much as what you say, but how you say it that influences the athlete. Some of the key points in terms of communication is also, how you're going to talk and tell people, giving instructions and demonstrations. If you're giving key points across, you need to plan in advance what you're going to say. Make sure you've got the attention of your children in the group. Maintain eye contact. Scan the group for understanding and motivation. Keep content simple, jargon free, and think how you're going to convey the information. So the speed, volume, tone, body language, and expressions. Instructions. So as coaches and practical knowledge of every aspect of sport and develop effective instructions includes the physical components, but also to develop more advanced skills. So by using instructions, the instructor continuously strives to help performers realise their full potential and develop those skills through instructions. Demonstrations can be used to teach skills, the mental and physical, visible. It might be around demonstrating. People learn from demonstrations, actions and movements and rules behind those movements. So now you're going to see some kind of key diagrams around providing instructions and explanations when working with athletes and performers. So it's around make sure we plan what we're going to say before we say it, gain the attention before you start, keep the message simple and invite questions and check for understanding. Providing demonstrations, position so that all can see and hear, focus the attention on one or two key points, repeat the appropriate demo for more than once and invite questions to check for understanding. Key elements for observation analysis when we're working with performers. Focus on one key point at a time. Observe the action several times before from different positions. Compare observations with correct template to find matches and mismatches. And determine an action builds on strengths and correcting errors. Or do nothing. So we've touched on the kind of key communication points when we're working with athletes and performers, whether that's providing demonstrations, instructions, giving observation analysis. The other part I've kind of already touched on slightly is around the other side of communication is that the listening skills and receiving information. So about being active listeners, responding, selecting relevant cues, acknowledging and providing appropriate feedback. Listening is different to hearing. Hearing is receiving the message or information but does not guarantee the message is interpreted. So you're taking on board the information and interpreting it. So the key points of listening: give 100% attention to the player, performer, child. Do not think about what you'll do and say next. Give and maintain eye contact. Reinforce your interest throughout by body language, nodding, smiling, and never interrupt until someone finishes a sentence unless you're asked to.